EU officials reject Boris Johnson's new Brexit demands before he even sits down with European leaders.
Here's a summary of the article.
European officials in Dublin and Brussels have immediately rejected Boris Johnson's new demand to renegotiate Britain's Brexit deal, ahead of his meetings later this week with Angela Merkel and Emmanuel Macron. The Prime Minister wrote to European Council President Donald Tusk on Monday demanding that the EU drop the Northern Ireland backstop from the agreement. EU officials believe the backstop is needed to preserve the integrity of the European single market and to preserve the Irish peace settlement. Ireland's governing party Fine Gael also rejected Johnson's demands to remove the backstop. Senator Richmond Neal, the party's spokesperson on European affairs, said that Johnson's description of the backstop as anti-democratic was newfound spin, tweeting that Johnson had voted for it as part of the withdrawal agreement earlier this year. Johnson spoke on the phone with Leo Varadkar, the Irish Premier, for over an hour shortly before the letter was published, with the two leaders outlining their opposing perspectives on the need for the backstop. The UK is currently scheduled to leave the EU on October 31, and Boris Johnson has pledged to deliver Brexit with or without a deal, despite warnings from business leaders that trade disruption would cause severe problems for many firms.
This post received a score of 12,376, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
As a famous person once said, paraphrasing here, who knew that leaving the EU would be so complicated?
It's complicated, especially when you insist the border has to be open and closed at the same time.
Quantum border, and the Irish will pay for it.
Oh, we'll pay all right. We always do, whenever the Brits are at it again.
This website is never not relevant.
The EU negotiators finalised a deal with the UK and the team was dissolved late 2018. Johnson is painting a narrative.
I feel this is easily overlooked. The EU agreed to a deal with the UK, not with Theresa May.
Boris to the EU, let's renegotiate this deal we made, I am not happy with it. Theresa didn't know what she was doing. Boris to the UK, sorry, Brexit has already been agreed. Holding another referendum is not allowed.
Boris to the EU, okay, so like I was saying, we need to renegotiate.
EU, I've come to bargain.
At this point he'll need an infinity stone to renegotiate.
Boris, can we have a new deal? EU, no Boris, can we have a new deal? EU, no Boris, can we have a new deal? EU, no Boris, can we have a new deal? EU, no Boris, oh time ran out looks like no deal Brexit, blame the EU for not wanting to compromise. And #X200B. I wish I could mark this as S.
But how was his can-do attitude? I was told that was the only thing the UK needed.
Greater than just adopt a shitty Churchill voice and rhetoric, and everyone will worship you even as you burn the UK down all around them and potentially lose Northern Ireland and Scotland in the process. Bojo's Brexit 101.
While constantly telling us how he is going to be tough on crime, longer sentences mean people will commit less crime etc., like WTF. Sure Boris, it has nothing to do with massive police cuts and the elimination of social support groups, people just need to be more frightened. This dude is PM on such a small percent of people vote and he's gonna jump us off the no-deal bridge while blaming it all on the EU and is pushing May's authoritarian policies even harder. I think Boris and his cabinet of corporate-sucking pieces of shit is what people should be looking at first and foremost, but no, this administration will continue to sell out our country while enriching themselves and their friends, all while using Brexit as the massive distraction. I really think people are underestimating the damage these fuckers are going to do.
You are underestimating how savage U.S. businesses will be. Fully expect to become an economic hireling of the U.S., your economy will serve interests that are not your own. You will eat, wear, live, and breathe in service of the dollar.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.